We interrupt this program to give you a bulletin just received from one of our naval units at sea. A large object traveling at supersonic speed is headed over the North Atlantic.
Once a normal, voluptuously beautiful woman, she drove into a nightmare of horror and saw descending from the sky.
Just a minute, ladies and gentlemen. I think something is happening.
Ooh, I feel retrogasmic.
Retrogasmic. Retrogasmic.
Welcome again to the Retrogasmic podcast. I'm your host, DD Deluxe, and today we are looking at the phenomenon, the cultural icon that is the American diner. The classic American diner has been around for almost 150 years, and it's a home away from home for many Americans. They're often open 24 hours a day. They're often situated on long, lonely stretches of road, and they're the only kind of solace and homeliness on a otherwise long and lonely trip. It's a staple of American culture. Norman Rockwell, Edward Hopper, both painted kind of legendary, iconic artworks featuring the American diner, and they've always been the place where the average Joe could go and get a lot of food for not much money, and hopefully a kind of a smile from a friendly waitress. The first diner was put together by a wonderfully named Walter Scott, W-A-T-E-R, who was a bit of an entrepreneur, lived in Rhode Island, and he kind of repurposed an old horse-pulled wagon. Now this was 1872, and he kind of turned it into a car that served sandwiches, coffees, pies, and basically cooked eggs, mainly late at night. He was a printer, and he quit his job as a printer to sell food from the wagon, and it became so popular there were other companies soon producing lunch wagons or late night diner wagons, if you like. Now, a couple of people soon found that designing and manufacturing the lunch cars was actually more profitable than running one. And a guy called T.H. Buckley in Worcester, Massachusetts, is kind of known as the inventor of the modern diner, if you like. These had large wheels, overhanging kind of areas where you could stay dry as you're ordering your food if you're outside, murals, lettering, frosted glass, and most importantly, a fridge, an icebox. And this kind of was the first emergence of the diner as we know it today. Around the turn of the 20th century, around 1900, there was 3 companies manufacturing these new modern lunch cars: the Worcester lunch car, the Tierney, and the O'Mahony lunch car. The later diners, pre-First World War, had smaller wheels, much larger counters, and they started tiling them. And obviously, the more stuff that went inside, the less likely it was that it would be easier to actually move these things around. So they became permanent establishments. After World War I broke out, the diners started catering more to appeal to women, adding flower boxes and wallpaper and curtains, and advertising their food as home-cooked meals. Diners in the 1930s, obviously influenced by the Art Deco movement, had a streamlined design, bullet-shaped exteriors, lots of chrome on the inside, beautiful kind of graphic layouts. The streamlined modern design of the diner first appeared in the 1930s in an effort to change their image from kind of a late-night working man's hangout. The futuristic designs reflected the modern era as it was seen then, and during the Depression many diners stayed in business due to their low-cost menus, which basically kept a lot of people alive. The demand for diners increased after World War II when many servicemen and women returned home, and there was over a dozen diner manufacturers.
Oh, I Smokey Joe's Cafe. Oh, I Smokey Joe's Cafe.
One day while I was eating beans
at Smokey Joe's Cafe,
just sitting digging all the scenes
at Smokey Joe's Cafe,
a chick came walking through the door that I had never seen. first saw her down
at Smokey Joe's Cafe.
Ooh, and I started shaking when she sat right down next to me. Ooh, her knees were almost touching mine
At Smokey Joe's Cafe.
Her chill was running down my spine
At Smokey Joe's Cafe.
Oh, I could smell a sweet perfume. She smiled at me, my heart went boom. Then everybody in the room
At Smokey Joe's Cafe.
they said, man, be careful. That chick belongs to Smokey Joe. So from behind the counter, I saw a man. A shelf hat on his head and a knife in his hand. He grabbed me by my collar and began to shout.
You better eat up all your beans and bar and clear right on out.
Yes, I know I'll never eat again.
At Smokey Joe's Cafe.
And so we'll never meet again.
At Smokey Joe's Cafe.
I'd rather eat my chili beans at Jim's or Jack's or John's or Jeans than take my chances eating out
At Smokey Joe's Cafe.
Ooh, I risk my life when that Smokey Joe's a crazy fool.
Smokey Joe's Cafe. Oh, I Smokey Joe's Cafe. Oh, I Smokey Joe's Cafe. Oh, I Smokey Joe's Cafe.
That was the Coasters, Smokey Joe's Cafe from 1955. So, post-World War II, in America, the diners kind of kicked up a gear and they became what we all know and love and we see in every single rock and roll movie, and every city in the world has got an American diner and they're always either good or excellent. You very rarely come across one that's not just a great place to go. The Formica tops were a big thing, easy to look after, clean, neat and tidy, lots of chrome, terrazzo floors, porcelain tiles everywhere, often big leather booths with the chrome trims. Often you'd see the red and the chrome as a counterpoint. Pretty much that's the look they stayed with. There was a big kind of revival in the 1970s, but they were all built to look like the ones made in the late 40s and the 1950s and early 60s. In America now, they're given so much cultural value that there's actually, I think, about 2 or 3 dozen diners listed on their National Register of Historic Places. So they're actually listed buildings. The great thing about an American diner, as far as I'm concerned, is that you can walk into one and you're not just going to get a pile of kind of probably quite greasy food and all the calories and carbohydrate you need for a week for a pretty good value, but you get to kind of sit in something that reminds you of when there was hope. You know, the American diner has that thing where a major war just happened and they'd come out the other side. You know, we're in the atomic age, so everyone was hoping that technology and space travel was going to lead us out into the universe. And there's something wonderful about it. You can see why Quentin Tarantino and many other directors have used a diner scene as a kind of a key point or a trigger point in a movie.
I was always kind of one who liked to consider myself kind of a pioneer of the palate, a restaurateur, if you will. I've wined, dined, sipped, and supped in some of the most demonstrably beamer, epitomable bistros in the Los Angeles metropolitan region. Yeah, I've had strange-looking patty melts at Norm's. I've had dangerous field cutlets at the Copper Penny. Well, what you get is a breaded Salisbury steak and a shake and bake and topped with a provocative sauce of Velveeta and half and half. Smothered with Campbell's tomato soup. You see, I had kind of well, I ordered my veal cutlet. Christ had left the plate and it walked down the end of the counter. Waitress named Irene, boy, she wearing those rhinestone glasses with a little pearl thing clip on a sweater. My veal cutlet come down, try to beat the shit out of my cup of coffee, but coffee just wasn't strong enough to defend itself. Nighthawks at the diner, Hammer's 49er. There's a rendezvous of strangers around a coffee urn night. All the gypsy hacks and the insomniacs, now the paper's been read. Now the waitress said, eggs and sausage and a side of toast, a coffee and a roll. Hash browns over easy, chili in a bowl with burgers and fries. What kind of pie? It's a graveyard charade, it's a late shit masquerade. And it's 2 for a quarter, dime for a dance. Woolworth rhinestone, diamond earrings, and a sideways glance. Now the register rings. Now the waitress sings. Eggs and sausage, side of toast, coffee and a roll, hash browns over easy, chili in a bowl, burgers and fries. What kind of pie? Classified section offers no direction. It's a cold caffeine in a nicotine cloud. As the touch of your fingers lingers burning in my memory. I've been 86th from your scheme. Now I'm in a melodramatic nocturnal scene. Now I'm a refugee from a disconcerted affair. Now the lead pipe morning fall. Now the waitress calls. Eggs and sausage. Now a side of toast. Coffee and a roll. Hash browns over easy, chili in a bowl with burgers and fries. Now what kind of pie? Alamo, if you will. Just come in and join the crowd. Had some time to kill. See, I just come in to join the crowd. Had some time to kill. Just come in and join the crowd, 'cause I had some time to kill.
That was, of course, Tom Waits with Eggs and Sausage from the legendary Nighthawks at the Diner album from 1975. So I'm here at Diner 66 in Christchurch with Shelley, one of the owners. This is an incredible place. It's absolutely wonderful. We've just bashed out a couple of hours of live music in the corner, and it was wonderful fun. How did you end up owning this amazing place?
Well, it's been a bit of a passion of ours for a long time. We've been into classic cars, and then we started going to the States, much to my husband's disgust initially. However, he after taking him there, he fell in love with the place, so we decided to do a Route 66 tour. And during that time, we went to hundreds of diners, literally, and just loved it. Every time we went, there was something different about every one. But we had our favourite ones. They were very 50s styled, and it matched very much with the cars we were into and the style, just our lifestyle. And then we met Kay from Cabela Baby as well, so I started getting into pin-up dress. All those things kind of all accumulated in one time. And when we'd been to the States a few times and been to all these diners, especially the 50s styles one that we just felt like you're at Happy Days, in the TV program of Happy Days or an American Graffiti or something like that, and we just loved the vibe. The people who served you was simple, quick, sassy. It was fun. It was we really enjoyed it. So we came back and we didn't have anywhere to go for breakfast anymore. So we got back. Well, what do we do? There's no diners here. Well, why don't we just start one? So we got to designing, and here we are. So 2 years later.
That from a bright idea, that's an amazing step. I mean, you're right on the corner of kind of two main streets here. So you've just trying to paint a picture. You've got like a triangular bar with huge glass sliding doors. You're very visible from the street, and it's an absolutely fantastic spot. And you've got a big curved 1950s style bar that you can sit at with bar stools. There's beautiful upholstered booths. There's pictures and paintings all over the wall. There's classic car models. I mean, the detail is astonishing. Be honest, how long did this take to put together?
Oh, it was a lot longer than we planned. So the design took a long time. It was done in America, and then we had to have it shipped over here, and we were on a tight time frame, and we kind of extended it a few months by the end of it. A lot of hours of work all over the Christmas, not the Christmas just gone, the one before, working in here. My husband built it himself because he is a builder, so he put everything together with the help of our friends and tradies that we know. But it's a long time, and we keep adding. We've added the little models, but we wanted everything to be really authentic. So they sent the art as well. The guys who designed it, they picked all the art, and we had to decide where we put it in the place. But the whole thing's just been done right from the beginning, very authentic.
So obviously we go to a lot of American diners, as you can imagine. We've played in pretty much every American diner in New Zealand. The food is always grating them. Now, having been to quite a few diners in the States, that's not always true.
Correct.
Sometimes it can be a little bit average. How did you put the menu together? Because you've got a fantastic selection.
So we took all the menus that we went and ate. We took photos of them all, and then we picked all our favourite dishes that we really liked off the menus over there. And then we got the chef in to help us design what was going to be right or wrong. And I was very stern on it being a very big menu, because diner menus over there are huge, and they are all day. You have breakfast all day. So I've always been very staunch on that. We started pulling it together and costed it and sort of just developed it over a few months with things that we knew we'd had in the States, really. It wasn't without its challenges, to be fair.
I bet.
Because chefs have their ideas. So the chef first initially came up with all these lovely burgers, like a chicken burger with Japanese slaw. I'm like, no, this is an American diner. It's got to have biscuits and gravy and just normal burgers that are truly American, what you do find in there. So it was we got there in the end.
Well, I mean, it's an incredible place. It's fantastic. So, from what I'm seeing, you're spending a lot of time here, and you obviously love doing it. What's next? Where's the ambition?
Well, the ambition was never for me to be spending lots of hours in the diner as such, but to continue growing it into many other options, many other facets of the 50s, not just the diner, but things that complement it. Merchandise store and having a bit of merchandise in here, so mixing everything up, having cars for sale as well, but more branches of the diner, just lots of 50s stuff, all different types of diners in different places.
Almost like a lifestyle thing.
Yeah, very much so, very
Fantastic.
much. Yeah.
Well, look, thank you so much for talking to us. Really look forward to seeing what you guys get up to in the next couple of years.
Yeah, if we survive it.
Thank you, Shelley.
You're welcome.
That was The Doors with Soul Kitchen. Now let's do our vintage trivia. Probably should have done it earlier on in the show, but never mind. What is the biggest burger that is commercially available on a diner menu in the world? What is the biggest burger you can buy in a diner? I'll give you the answer after this next song. This is A Banded Luncheonette by Hall & Oates from 1973.
They sat in an abandoned luncheonette sipping imaginary cola and drawing faces in the tabletop dust. His voice was rusty from years as a sergeant in this man's army. He was old and crusty. She was 20 when the diner was a baby. He was a dishwasher, busy in the back, his hands covered with gravy. Hair black and wavy, brilliant teen slick, pot cleaning dandy. He was young and randy, yeah. Day to day, today, today, then they were old, their lives wasted away. Month to month, to year, they all run together, all run together. Time measured by peeling of pain on the luncheonette wall. The old sat together in the empty diner, filled with cracked china. Old news was blowing across the filthy floor, and the sign on the door read, sign on the door read, this way out, that's all it said. That's all it said. Ooh, that's all it said. Day to day, day to day, and they were old, their lives wasted away. Month to month, and year to year, and month to month to month, and year to year, month to month, day to day, year to year, day to day, month to month, day to day, year to year, day to day, month to month, day to day, year to year, day to day, month to month, day to day, year to year, day to day, month to month, day to day, year to year.
So the answer to our trivia question today: what's the largest commercially available burger? So this isn't a something that was done for a charity or just to beat the record, although I guess that was the initial idea. This is actually on the restaurant menu. Now you have to order this 3 days in advance. It costs, and wait for this, $8,000, and it weighs 1,794 pounds. It's a cheeseburger. It's for sale at Mally's Sports Bar and Grill in Detroit. It took them about 3.5 years to work out how they were going to make it. A bakery donated by the Michigan Bread Company weighs 250 pounds, and it was baked specially for it. The entire thing is 3 feet tall and 5 feet wide, and they are very proud to say that it is every bit edible. It's got onions and cheese and a huge burger, and it didn't go to waste. They chopped it up and gave it to all their customers, and the stuff that was left was made into taco meat and was donated to local shelters. They originally built a burger that was about 300 pounds and held the world record, and then a Japanese grill beat them the following year. So they took some time and planned it, and this thing is enormous. Google it. It's an astonishing thing. It really is a creation of beauty.
Retrogasmic.
That sadly brings us to the end of another show. I really enjoyed today's. I love American diners. If you're in New Zealand and you're doing a bit of a tiki tour, definitely check out Diner 66 in Christchurch. It's a wonderful place and lovely people. And the other one you've absolutely got to visit is the Jukebox Diner in Hamilton. So one on the North Island, one on the South Island. And the thing that kind of makes the Jukebox Diner a bit special is that it is attached to probably one of the best classic car museums you'll ever go to. And you can kind of go in there and have your burger and soak it up and then walk through, and there's just, I think there's like 100 cars in there. It's just stunning. It's a beautiful place. Even the front door is a giant jukebox. So you're kind of walking in through a jukebox into the diner. It's wonderful. Lovely people, great grub. I highly recommend it. Thanks again for listening. If you enjoyed the show, give it a share, tell your friends, all that kind of stuff. If you'd like to sponsor an episode, drop us a message. It'd be lovely to have you on board, especially if you're doing something cool and retro and vintagey. And we were going to play this next song during the show, but it's 18 minutes long. So we're just going to finish on good old Arlo Guthrie and Alice's Restaurant.
Sing it when you're done. Here it comes. You can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. You can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. Walk right in, it's around the back, just a half a mile from the railroad track. And you can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. That was horrible. If you want to end Warren stuff, you gotta sing loud. You could put a lot. I've been singing the song now for 25 minutes. I could sing it for another 25 minutes. I'm not proud or tired. So we'll wait till it comes around again. And this time with 4-part harmony and feeling. We're just waiting for it to come around is what we're doing. All right now. You can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. Accepting Alice, you can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. So walk right in, it's around the back, just a half a mile from the railroad track. And you can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. Da 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 da. At Alice's Restaurant.